Hello, everyone, and welcome to Retail Revolution, integrating edge computing and edge networking for increased store revenues. Today's webinar is sponsored by Scale Computing and Mako Networks and produced by Actual Tech Media. As for me, well, I am Keith Ward. I'm with Actual Tech Media, and I am thrilled to be your moderator for this special event today. But before we get to the content, we do have a few housekeeping items I need to let you know about to help you get the most out of this session. First up, don't be afraid to ask questions. Put them in the questions area. That's the same place where a lot of you are logging in already and telling us where you're coming from. And I see a bunch of you today from California, Atlanta, Winnipeg, Arizona, all over the place. And thank you for being here with us. Now, that Q&A panel is also the place to let us know about any technical issues you might be experiencing. So a browser refresh is the first thing you want to do. If you can't see something, hear something, anything like that, just let us know. Well, do that browser refresh first. Then if that doesn't work, well, try another browser refresh. Sometimes it takes a couple of them to kind of clear the gremlins out of your system. If that still doesn't work, let us know in that Q&A section, and we will hop right on it and help you out. Second, all right, look right next to your questions tab. You'll see a word that says handouts, a little label up there. That is our handouts section, and there are a ton of great free resources right over there. So you're going to want to check that out now. And I'd especially like to call your attention today to an ebook on edge computing and edge networking, along with a solution brief from our sponsors today, Scale Computing and Mako Networks. They're going to tell you all about their offerings. Now, in the handouts section, you're also going to see a link to the ATM Decisions Group, which is a panel of IT decision makers that you can apply to join to participate in some more in-depth events and other opportunities. Now, in there, you'll also find a link to our Actual Tech Media Events Center, which has our calendar of more upcoming events just like this one. So head over there also, look at upcoming events. If you see something you like, well, sign up after the event today. Okay, third, at the end of the webinar event, we are going to be making one of you $250 richer courtesy of an Amazon gift card. So you do have to be in attendance during the entire event to qualify for the prize. The official terms and conditions of that prize drawing can be found in the handouts section as well. Scroll to the bottom and you'll find the link with all the boring details right there. And with that, folks, why don't we get to the main event? I cannot wait to get started. It is my pleasure to introduce you to our presenters today. They are Dave Demelo, the VP of Product Innovation at Scale Computing, and Simon Gamble, the President and CRO of Mako Networks. Gentlemen, it's a delight to have you on today. Simon, you are going to be kicking this off, so I am going to hand this virtual mic right over to you. You have the floor.
Thanks, Keith, and thanks everybody for taking some time out of your day to attend our webinar. I'm really thrilled to have you all here. So today's presentation is all about technologies and the revolution that's going on at retailers, and particularly distributed retailers. There's an amazing amount of technology that's coming out designed specifically for retail store locations, creating new possibilities and opportunities for retailers. Frankly, in my opinion, it's really the first time that a lot of this stuff has been affordable. It's been spoken about for a long, long time. But when most retailers really analyze the cost versus the returns that they might be able to get out of such solutions, it really doesn't add up. So retailers can now have the choice of deploying lots and lots of data-driven technologies to create unique experiences for their customers. Differentiate themselves from their competition, or maybe just streamline their business. And these advances are really driving increased customer loyalty, or they're designed to drive increased customer loyalty and ultimately in-store revenue. If it doesn't do that, it's not worth happening. Dave.
Yeah, I focus a lot more on the low-level technology, and so really seeing the advancement in just the amount of data that's being collected with various IoT sensors, in-store video analytics, machine learning, even use of generative AI being deployed out to the edge for a whole bunch of purposes. There's the obvious things that most customers, engaging with a retailer see, from point of sale to the video surveillance, to kiosks and so forth. But there's, so much more that's being done with the vast amount of data that's being collected to create, new hybrid experiences that span, cloud to on-premises. And the technologies to be able to enable those solutions have to keep up and allow the retailers to be able to keep up with those innovations and really push and drive the new capabilities that the retailers are looking for to differentiate themselves.
Yeah, and increased data collection brings along with it increased threats, unfortunately. So it's really important that distributed retail enterprises take the threats seriously that are out there. Don't ignore them. Just like you're all protecting credit card data for customers, this other data that can be collected as part of these features and functions. Some of it can get you in a lot of trouble if it gets into the wrong hands. A lot of it's personally identifiable information, and hackers and criminals never stop. One of the major US phone carriers this morning was in the news for losing a massive amount of data last week. So it pays to get excited about these new technologies, but it also pays to be cautious about them. And so, unfortunately, retailers are becoming a prime target for cyber security attacks, ransomware attacks, phishing schemes, et cetera, et cetera. So part of what we're going to talk about today is really how not to fall into that trap and how to really benefit as much as you can from these new and exciting technologies. You've got to implement robust cybersecurity systems. But for most of you, a lot of you, your business isn't IT or cybersecurity. It's selling products, exciting customers, keeping people coming back, making your business different from other folks. So companies like Scale and like Mako can make a lot of these problems disappear for you and really help protect customer data whilst allowing you to deploy some of these new and super fun technologies.
Yeah, and from the infrastructure level, there's a lot of very unique things that retailers and many distributed organizations are facing, from obviously security to how do you deploy and maintain the physical IT infrastructure that's required, everything from the networking to the compute to the storage. How do you scale out those infrastructure resources without expensive truck rolls, without assuming that there's IT people on site that can do heavy lifting and complex operations? How do you standardize what that infrastructure footprint is across many locations to support a group of applications, not just kind of point solutions that are difficult to manage and maintain? And then how do you enable the enterprise to be able to rapidly deploy the new things that are coming? If we've learned anything the last couple of years, is that the environment, the use cases are rapidly evolving, and so the organizations that plan in advance to be able to rapidly react to those changes and have the infrastructure and the processes and the security all in place to let them do that are the ones that are going to thrive.
Yeah, most of the people on this webinar are part of the distributed retail enterprise environment. And so it's important to use technologies like Scales and Makos that's designed specifically for your type of business. A distributed retail enterprise is really different from most other types of business. There's a lot of unique things that you need to be careful of, cautious about, and can take advantage of compared to other business types. So let's dive into what technology requirements are different and why you should consider using technologies like Scales and Makos that are designed specifically for your types of organization.
Sure, and these are just some of them, but generally what we see is we're talking tens, hundreds, or even thousands of locations, and often standardization can be a big benefit. Particularly if it's an organization that has many different many stores that are ideally all the same or different types. So being able to standardize what that footprint is, what the life cycle is of the infrastructure, the application, the networking. But oftentimes there's a lot of variations that you can still plan into that platform. You might have company-owned locations versus franchisees and different requirements and needs for that. PCI requirements, and Simon's going to go extensively into that, and other compliance requirements for data sovereignty, protecting private information, even at the state or regional level, can greatly complicate how you have to deploy applications, how you have to manage data, and then the requirements for being able to run different kinds of applications. It mentions your edge virtualization requirements, but that's just to enable you to run legacy older systems on the same infrastructure platform as newer deployments and containerized applications and things like that. Be able to centralize all that and really reap the benefits of a easy to manage central platform like you would have in the cloud, but with the attributes that you need to provide these data and application sets close to the users and consumers.
Yeah, and one other thing that I know we both see pretty regularly with distributed retail enterprises is there's lots of moving parts in terms of ownership and things as well. So they're not as simple. It's not as simple to deploy technology into a distributed retail enterprise as it is some businesses, because some of the technology is owned by the brand, by the enterprise itself. Some of it's owned by the franchise groups. Usually there's multiple IT departments and different companies that are wanting to use the same technology for sometimes different purposes. So it's, again, important to use technology that's designed for these types of businesses. There's tons of devices that are in these organizations that are some are the same as other types of businesses and some are different. Obviously, point of sale systems is something that's at all distributed retail enterprise locations, and they're really essential for processing transactions efficiently and quickly, for providing end of day accounts, being able to access them centrally and at scale and update price books and things across a wide environment is really important. There's lots of computers in these environments. Sometimes they're sitting on the same network as the point of sale system, which they probably shouldn't be. Same goes for phone systems and things. Many of these businesses have CCTV sitting in their environments, which, if not secured properly, can be a problem. It can provide would-be intruders or hackers the ability to case a location without actually having to physically be there. But analog, old-school cameras can also provide a lot of data when fed into a digital system and overlaid with technology that allows you to do people count and head count and how many people walk around this aisle or go to that checkout counter, etc. So these devices that are in stores need to be deployed properly. They form a technological backbone that can really drive a lot of advantages to a business. And a lot of these older technologies, like old analog CCTV systems, with technologies like Scales, can be turned into modern, all singing, all dancing, amazing technologies. So distributed enterprises have a lot of equipment. Some of it is ubiquitous across their environment. Some of it is varied depending on the franchisee in place. Technologies like Scales and Mako are used to working in environments where stuff isn't ubiquitous all the time, and where some of the technology might have been originally deployed for one purpose and is now wanting to be used for another. So we're experienced in this, and we'll talk some more about how these devices can really shape up a distributed enterprises network and deliver some amazing technologies to your customers and your business.
Yeah, and some of the applications that we're seeing, change this edge computing landscape, particularly in retail, customer loyalty, self-checkout. There's always been things like providing, connectivity, guest Wi-Fi, wayfinding, being able to, navigate customers through the store to the experiences that they're most interested. Other thing not mentioned here, that we see coming up a lot, and there's a lot of use for AI and inference is loss prevention. Whether it's combining data from all those different devices, like leveraging the video streams from the surveillance system along with the data streams from the point of sale, being able to consolidate, centralize that, make local quick decisions and analysis and inference. So many amazing things that are made possible by being able to collect all this digital information very instantly, locally, provide processing inference to make decisions that ultimately provide better business and customer outcomes, which is really the whole key for being here. On the application topic, we have a poll here. Should be up there. We'll give a few minutes. What applications do you find are most valuable in your retail operations? And we listed several that we mentioned here. I don't know, Simon, I guess while we're giving people some time to fill stuff out, I know you do a lot of different kinds of retailers. Any guess on what we're going to see here? Or?
My guess the most valuable is going to be their point of sale system, because
that's pretty important.
Everything comes in the door. And everything else will be trying to drive customers towards their point of sale system, would be my guess. But it's interesting how it's shaping up. I mean, customer loyalty and POS are both up there, and I guess they're both designed to get customers back and spending money in the store. So no major surprises there. We'll just hang on for a minute. The numbers are still moving a little bit. It's interesting to see things. Here we go. Yeah. So no big surprise. Point of sale is number one.
Yeah. And a lot of interesting things going on with, customer self-checkout, good and bad, and like I said, a lot of it comes down to, integrating all these different things to get, to get the ideal results there. So interesting data there.
Yeah.
All right. And this one's to you, Simon, here.
Okay. All right. So everybody these days, and have done for as long as I've been in business, is wanting to do more with less. These days, you really can do more with less. I've been involved with... I've been in business really since the internet first came out. My first job out of university was working for a startup ISP in New Zealand back in the day. So I've always been interested in it, and I've really been interested in how it democratizes information, and that democratization of information really it just continues to grow. The things that a small business can do now were absolutely unheard of back in the day, and the things that a big distributed retail enterprise can do now with technology is also amazing, especially when you consider how little things cost these days compared to what they did 10, 20, 30 years ago. So today's stores definitively need to do more with less, always have, always will. And that's really what we're all about. Distributed retail enterprises also need to build their networks in compliance with PCI DSS. So really important with all of these technologies that we're talking about, the fun, sexy, exciting things that bring customers back, the boring part is the foundation. But the foundation is really the technology that allows all the fun stuff to happen without the risk. One of the risks is credit card data. Anyone with credit card data flowing around their network has to build their network in compliance with the payment card industry data security standard. And it's really common sense when anyone looks at it. And it's kind of a shame that it's perceived as something that's really difficult to attain. It is relatively highly technical, but you can use partners like Mako and Scale to make PCI not go away, but make it much easier to attain. Our technologies are already PCI certified, so if they're deployed and configured properly in your environment, then you can move on from worrying about PCI so much and deploy some really exciting things on top of our technologies. For those that, and I think most people on this call will know what PCI DSS is, but a super quick version of it is, think of it almost as a gate to responsibility for card fraud. Many years ago, most point of sale terminals were dial-up. The card fraud was pretty light. With the advent of terminals moving on to primarily the internet, card fraud rose, and credit card companies weren't prepared to pay for it anymore, basically. And so they pushed some responsibility onto a retailer and the banks and the card schemes. Anyone with card data on their network has to protect that data. And so really that's what PCI DSS is all about. It's super boring for a lot of people, but it's really important, because if customers' card data gets lost at your premises, it's a big hassle, and it's a major reputational issue as well. So talk about it early on in this presentation, because it's important to know that both Mako and Scale take PCI security very seriously. The foundations for the things you can do have PCI in mind, so you can think about it less. Not forget about it, but think about it less and build some exciting technologies on top of our base. So, got another poll here for folks, which we want to talk about. We see for a lot of people that we talk to, their network is hindering them from being able to deliver features and functionality to their estate. And the reason for that is their networks might be old. They might not be designed specifically for a distributed retail enterprise. The business is concerned about loading other features and functions on top of a system that is fundamentally weak. And certainly the majority of customers that we talk to have some concerns about this. So the fact that we're seeing 2/3 of people on this call at least somewhat concerned about their network hindering them from delivering features is not a huge surprise to me. The network is the foundation for being able to deliver other exciting things. So the scale technology is one core example. But together, the Mako and the scale technologies do deliver a solid, secure base to do some exciting stuff.
Yeah, certainly. If you can't connect in, you can't manage. If you can't connect out, you're definitely impacting operations there. So,
yep.
No surprise that there's opportunities out there to enhance that area of the business.
Yep.
So on the infrastructure side, we touched high level on some of these things. What is unique about, particularly distributed retail enterprise? Some of the things we commonly see is just minimal space, whether it's in the back office. Sometimes there's not a back office in a lot of these environments, but where do you physically house the compute equipment, the network equipment? How do you most cases you may not have redundant power or cooling, might have UPS. So, being able to deploy systems that are designed to operate in, that kind of environment, that are, ruggedized where needed, that, again, we've seen everything from, environments where, auto parts dealers that have, lathes and are, dust all over the place, to pet retailers that, we're worried about hair getting into the equipment. I mean, there's all sorts of interesting environmental stuff that you do need to think through. It's important to have resiliency built in to that. Being able to deal with unpredictable demands. I mean, that's one of the things that people, and particularly on the application side, have gotten very accustomed to for applications that are built for public cloud. You just dial up more resources when you need them. But when you're deploying and moving more of these things and more of this processing out to the edge, you do have to think through, capacity planning, monitoring. How would you scale your infrastructure and or your applications when you need it? That's one of the unique things, obviously, in the name Scale Computing, making sure that we provide that. And not by telling customers, hey, you need to predict what you need for the next 5 years up front and buy that. Actually, a cloud-like scale-out platform that lets you build and acquire what you need today, but know that you can easily expand it down the line without a complete infrastructure forklift upgraded, a system that's designed to be scaled as your needs grow. And then another unique thing is, we designed the system for this environment where, you don't have IT staff constantly in every location. As a matter of fact, from a cost perspective, you'd like to minimize the amount of times and touches that you need to roll trucks with expensive IT expertise to do deployments, to do upgrades, to do replacements, so on and so forth. But yet you need to also assess the cost of downtime. So being able to build in cost-effective resiliency with components that can self-heal, in a system that can self-heal and keep the applications running, that's really what we focused on in terms of providing this platform for the distributed retail edge. And so another poll question here, and I think this is our last poll. What are the primary challenges that you see in your retail enterprises with edge computing implementations? So let me push this out here and we'll see. Oh, did I click too quickly? Let me. There we go. See some data come in. It'll be interesting to see on this call. Hopefully, most people are, if they're not already deploying edge computing, are at least thinking about it. That's why they're here. We'll get some responses here. We do see, and again, I guess it's your definition of edge computing. I mean, most everybody we talk to has some legacy edge computing infrastructure, even if it's, old purpose-built, network firewalls and purpose-built, video surveillance systems, things like that, whether they have a platform that, is really designed to scale and support all of those, is, where they're at in that maturity is generally some of the questions we're dealing with. So let me push some of these results up here. So we do have some that aren't yet deploying, probably here exploring what the options are. Integration with existing IT infrastructure, and I assume that means not just what we see, not just other local infrastructure, but into their cloud resources, into their corporate network resources is a key thing. The initial setup and deployment costs actually pretty small here, but maintaining and managing, kind of day two operations, that can be, where a lot of the costs are. So is this kind of in line with what you see more on the network side, Simon?
Yep. Existing IT infrastructure is a bottleneck for a lot of things. But you know what?
Yeah, unfortunately, you can't just throw away and start over.
There's a solution. I'll give everyone on the call 3 seconds to guess what it might be. It's Mako and Scale. We're designed specifically for distributed retail enterprises, and we're used to fitting into existing infrastructure and technologies.
So yes, what basically we work with Mako is to take these purpose-built technologies that are designed for distributed edge deployment, for centralized centralized management, to be able to let you run critical applications on premises with the security, compliance, high availability, and ease of use that you were used to in the cloud, but putting the processing, putting the data out where it needs to be to support compliance, support some of these new efforts that exist out there. From the scale side, our overall solution is called SC Platform, or Scale Computing Platform, and that's really what we designed it to be. It's several different components we'll go through, but it's really designed for your enterprise to be simple, scalable, and available. So high availability is built in. I touched on the importance of scale out, being able to buy what you need today. We know retailers are very, very cost sensitive. So, not being able to, have to buy ahead of your actual needs is something that we designed in, including letting you mix and match, what you might buy today with what you add on to your system years down the line. The small form factor, and we do have a wide range of systems from data center class GPU loaded nodes to these smaller form factor systems. We'll go through some of our high level of product line, but being able to support that range of hardware infrastructure, providing centralized across the network cloud-based management, just like the Mako systems, and being designed that the assumption is that no on-site IT is required, even from the initial deployment and on. So the on-premises piece is called Scale Computing Hypercore, and it's the unified platform that maintains that system redundancy. So in most deployments, you would have multiple nodes, generally 3, to kind of cluster together. It's an all-in-one architecture that deploys virtual machines, containerized applications right out of the box. It operates kind of like a cloud, so you don't need to worry about that physical hardware under the hood. That's managed by the software stack, by the Hypercore software stack. And then it can seamlessly scale with easily adding additional nodes. It's designed to handle hardware failures, whether that's the storage level, the network level, entire nodes, automatically without the minimal impact to the application downtime, and let you just swap out those hardware resources as you need. And then it's coupled with that central management piece, what we call Fleet Manager. That's the centralized management control plane that lets you visually see the status of all your edge deployments, into the tens of thousands, as we discussed. From day one, it provides for zero-touch provisioning. So even as soon as the systems are ordered and procured, before they're even delivered out to an end store, you can go and set up, what the configuration is of those systems, so that when they show up, and a lot of these systems are, very simple devices, a power plug and an Ethernet cord, like a laptop. A store manager, in a lot of cases, can plug those in. They can phone home into Fleet Manager, get all their configurations of what they need to become, cluster together, deploy applications. But it's really designed to manage everything. So just like in the cloud, you really don't have to worry too much about the physical hardware that might be sitting under there. That's all handled by the Hypercore systems, and you just get the monitoring and so forth of the system state, your applications, and so forth. Really the key things that you're interested in from the fleet status. As I mentioned, we provide hardware integrated systems, so full appliance-based systems that you can purchase with the software ready to run and deploy. And those go from very small micro edge, small form factor systems like you see on the left side, up to data center class, 2U, high storage capacity, high GPU, and then even some cloud-based resources to integrate into the entire system for you. So we can cover that. We can also, in many cases, work with the existing hardware that's out there. We are basically a software solution. So you can, either buy the pre-configured appliance, or in many cases, we can work with systems you already have. So I guess we have one last poll question. I lied. Do you have multi-site projects that will require edge computing in the next 12 months? So I would imagine we'll get a number of people here that are, at least in the planning stage, or maybe in some cases, pilots or searching for solutions.
It's interesting figure. There's quite a high percentage of people looking at doing it in the next 12 months.
Yeah. And and probably some that are even planning beyond that. So, or maybe people who have done it and are looking at how to do it better. So, I guess we left some wiggle room on that one, I guess. So,
yep. So Dave's given you all an update on how the scale technology works, and now it's my turn to give you an update or some info on how the Mako technology works. And you're going to see a lot of similarities between our two technologies because they're both designed specifically for distributed enterprises. But we both have a strong focus on distributed retail enterprise. It's cloud managed, our technology, as is Scale's. Our technology builds the network foundation that the Scale technology rides on top of. So Mako is also designed to be simple and scalable. We have a strong focus on security as well. Our technology is used by some of the world's largest companies, and all of their payments and loyalty and business-focused traffic rides on Mako technology. We are completely carrier independent. We have not and will not tie ourselves to a single telco or ISP or cellular carrier. Mako is the only networking technology, certainly that I'm aware of, that the underlying technology is PCI DSS certified rather than a service overlay, which makes it far easier to deploy highly secure PCI certified environments into retailers. And our technology consists of a combination of networking devices designed specifically for distributed enterprise and cloud management. One of the key differences between Mako technology and other networking technologies is that the cloud management system, Mako's cloud management system, is designed to be used by everybody. All other networking technologies that I'm aware of, the end users, the store managers, the franchisees don't have access to the cloud management. They get a box with flashing lights. And that's because with other networking technologies, if you've got access to the cloud management system, you've got the keys to the kingdom. With Mako, our cloud management system is really the difference that we sell. It's designed to be used by everybody in a distributed retail enterprise, from the brand who want to be able to have a high-level overview of all of their Mako connected sites, through to the franchise groups, some of which are very large, sometimes even publicly listed companies with their own IT departments who want to use the technology for their own purposes as well, through to store managers who want to be able to get real-time alerts on their cell phones or via email about the stores they're responsible for. Are they online? Are they working on cellular temporarily? Are they overheating? Are they offline altogether? And so our system's designed to provide different value to everybody in the delivery chain. And this can make it a lot easier for a large distributed enterprise to roll out technology, because they're not just telling their franchisees, hey, you're getting this new technology that's disruptive in two ways. It's going to deliver disruptive features, but it's going to disrupt your environment while it's getting installed. But it's also going to deliver value to the franchisees that maybe traditional technologies can't. Where our product is deployed, when we're replacing older technologies, we often see that a store has two network stacks in it. They have the network stack that the brand has mandated, and then they have their own one so they can do what they need to do to stay in business. Maybe it's have remote access to their back office network from their head office. Maybe it's to deliver staff or guest Wi-Fi. With Mako, The brand can define what needs to be locked down and set up at a store that matters to them. But then the parts of the Mako technology the brand doesn't want to lock down are free for a dealer to use for whatever purpose they want. So we're all about creating the foundation for the future. We want to create scalable networking bases for you all to grow on. We're not about swapping out hardware every 3 years. Our hardware is designed to go in for a minimum of 8 years. Even though we typically only have 36-month contracts, most of our customers use our technology for a very, very long time. We launched in the United States in 2012, and we still have customers using hardware that's still fully supported that was deployed back in 2012. So we're about building a truly scalable networking base for you to grow on. Just like Scale, it's designed to have zero-touch provisioning. Truck rolls cost money, be that for an initial deployment, or also if, heaven forbid, there's an RMA needed. Mako technology does not need an engineer to go on site. The product can be delivered in a FedEx van or picked up from a warehouse, and as long as someone can plug in the cables into the right spot, the product works. It's designed to be proactive and deliver alerting that matters to everybody. I mentioned before about online and offline overheating alerts and things. Those are important to store managers. At the other end of the scale to a brand, they want to know the uptime statistics for all of their sites, and there may be thousands of them. They want to know how many of them are on cellular in a given month. They want to know what speeds the broadband at every location is getting to determine whether there is enough there to deliver new features and functions. So all of this information comes out of our platform and to the right people at the right time. The system has built-in firmware upgrade management. So many large retail enterprises want to make sure that when a firmware update goes out, it goes to their lab first, and then they can approve it going out to their stores. The system's easy to use at either end of the scale. It's easy to see and understand what's going on across an entire estate, or to dive straight into a single store and see what's going on at that store, get information about how traffic is flowing and what's plugged in where, and get real-time alerts if something's plugged into the wrong spot. Best of all, it's designed so you don't need to be an engineer to use it, because most distributed retail enterprise people aren't IT companies. They're distributed retail enterprises. Like Scale, we have a range of devices designed for your types of environment. Devices from secure edge devices, 5G devices, indoor and outdoor Wi-Fi APs, different port density managed switches, and VPN concentrators, because we build WANs for these customers, for you as well. All of these technologies are designed for distributed enterprises. They're not an enterprise product that's been scaled down, and they're not an SMB product that's been scaled up. It is designed for distributed enterprises. So I think this is the last poll, Dave. It doesn't make.
There might be one more. I'm looking ahead in the slides.
Yeah. So, are you responsible for networking at a distributed enterprise and considering a network refresh in the 12 months? We'd be really interested to know. You've taken the time out of your day to come in and hear from us. Hopefully you like what you've heard, and if so, we'd really love to continue a conversation with you. We think we can add some significant value to your business if you'll let us show you. So, surprising number of people with real use cases and things ready to go. And speaking of use cases and deployments, thought it might be interesting for Dave and I to have to talk about a couple of use cases where our technologies have been deployed together. Obviously, we have to, the names have been changed to protect the innocent, but oil and gas is somewhere where together we're working a lot. Point of sale systems in the oil and gas space and others are starting to be virtualizable, and being virtualized on Scale makes a lot of sense for a lot of businesses. It massively reduces the amount or the number of hardware devices in a store. You can have redundancy and resiliency with virtualized point of sale systems that you can't get by having standalone point of sale systems. We've even virtualized Mako edge devices on Scale equipment as well to further reduce the footprint that's going in a store. So together, Scale and Mako have at many oil and gas retail locations drastically reduced the footprint of hardware that's at a store, increased the availability within the stores by the point of sale system actually having resiliency and redundancy built in, not just the network. and creating a foundation for other technologies to be virtualized in those stores as well, without the need for further hardware being delivered. We've also been doing some deployments to quick serve restaurants, and the virtualization at quick serve restaurants is different. It's actually at the head end of the one that I'm thinking of. It's a large restaurant chain, international, with locations in North America and Asia. They have had a massive amount of head-end servers to drive and interpret a lot of data that was coming from the stores back to their head office and data center environments. They had stacks and stacks of hardware in a rack in their head office, and also they had redundant racks of equipment sitting in a data center in Vegas. That stuff has been massively simplified with scale. The hardware footprint is probably 10 times smaller than it was. The resiliency and redundancy is massively improved. And Mako has built out the store networks and then built secure VPN cloud-based rails back into the head office and the data centers for the traffic to be securely communicated back to the virtualized servers on the scale equipment. So just a couple of ideas with virtualization in a store and virtualization in a head office or a data center where we've been successfully deployed together. So, Dave, any anecdotes you have to share on top of that?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's exciting things kind of unique going on in a lot of these different use cases. The quick serve restaurants, I think, are, that we're working with are doing some very interesting things, or looking towards some very interesting things with kind of IoT, on, everything from freezer temperatures to, device fryers and optimizing, drive-through throughput and connecting, app ordering flow into, production to avoid waste, some very interesting things in that space. I think really across the board, as I mentioned earlier, we're seeing kind of all these different niches figuring out how they can, streamline, improve the customer experience, leveraging technology, and then also better learn about their customers and their needs to fine tune their offerings.
Yeah, and putting the compute where it needs to be. Sometimes it can be at a head office end because it's really not that critical if the internet goes down. Other times it's important to put it at the store end because the data needs to be processed before it leaves the store. So sometimes it's a combination of both.
Yep. Yeah. A lot of the most successful, like refactored apps that I've seen is where they kind of design it for the environment of today, where you understand you've got edge, you've got cloud, and you can kind of, build in even an application that itself is distributed with pieces running in the edge, sending data to the cloud, providing resiliency, failover. If I can't connect into the cloud, you can still have autonomous operation locally. So, I think it's critical to consider all those pieces, and networking and compute and putting all those in the right places are essential.
Agreed. So hopefully you've seen that Scale and Mako is better together for you. We think we can help modernize your IT environment without massive cost, future-proof your stores, deliver some amazing technologies, or help you deliver some amazing technologies that increases and grows your revenue, hopefully reduces your risk, and will allow you to deploy such technologies faster. Not only is our technology quicker and easier to deploy than most others, once it's in, you can deploy new things without any truck rolls, and you've freed up to be able to do some amazing things. And I'm sure everybody here has got things in their mind that they'd love to be able to deploy, but it all seems too hard. Well, let us help you make it not so hard. I can actually see another poll coming up, Dave. So we're
I was looking ahead, and I think this is the request. Yeah, if you have immediate projects that you're looking to speak about, respond here.
Please say yes. That'd be great.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. One final poll, and I promise everyone this is the last one. But I mean, polls are great. I love the audience being able to interact this way, and to get and to give real time feedback. So hey, keep voting in this latest poll here. And do you have an immediate project, again, to speak with Scale Computing and Mako Networks about? Based on some of the earlier polls, gentlemen, I think the answer to that is definitely yes. So let me ask both of you if you can briefly just supply us with a little bit of information. If someone wants to get hold of you right away and take the next step with first Scale and then Mako. So we'll start with you, Dave. Tell us tell them what they should do as their very next step. So that's this slide here.
Okay. Yeah, I would suggest go to scalecomputing.com. We have a solution section that's focused on retail. Lots of case study information to help if you're looking for projects or solutions that are available out there, and get in touch with us. But a lot of information there, whether you're just dealing with improving your existing infrastructure and lift and shifting into a more resilient platform, or if you're down the path of looking at refactoring your applications and looking for a more cloud native but edge focused deployment platform, we can help you with all those things.
Absolutely. And you, Simon?
Send me an email. SimonG@MakoNetworks.com. Drop me a line. I'd love to speak with you. Obviously, if you go to MakoNetworks.com, you can find out more background information, but feel free to reach out to me direct. I'd love to hear from you, and can introduce other members of our team to you as needed, but don't hesitate to reach out.
So there you have it. You can speak to the president himself, everyone, with that email that you see right up there now. Dave and Simon, it has been an absolute delight to have you on. Thank you so much for updating us, and for those who haven't been exposed to your companies yet, for introducing what Scale Computing and Mako Networks are doing. So much innovation going on. I love seeing what you're up to, edge computing, the cloud, all of that is kind of a whole now, and you really basically can't do business anymore without some level of that. So thank you for this education today, and thanks so much for being here and for your insights. It was really a pleasure.
Thanks for having me. Thanks everyone. I've enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Okay, folks. So with that, we are wrapping up for today. You have seen the poll question. Now, what we are going to be doing is the final duty of mine, and it's always one of the funnest or most fun duties for me in any of these events, and that is to give away the Amazon gift card. Now, as I mentioned at the top, you do have to be present for the entire event to be eligible for the gift card. And we do have a winner for this event. And the winner of the $250 is Josh DeVrew from Michigan. So congratulations to you, Josh. We will be in touch ASAP to get you your card. And with that, folks, we are wrapped. On behalf of the Actual Tech Media team, I want to thank Scale Computing and Mako Networks for making this absolutely thrilling event possible. I want to thank you, the attendees, for being here, for voting in these polls, for your interest in this topic, and for spending part of your Friday with us. I hope everyone has a great weekend. I look forward to seeing you in the next event. Have a great rest of your day, folks.